There's a new national study out. It looks at the number of people who are in prison.
It says the U.S. could save almost $20 billion a year and be just as safe by not putting so many nonviolent criminals behind bars.
Robert Kittle is going to show us now. South Carolina is already leading the way.
After 3 years of research, the Brennan Center for Justice says nationwide 39% of prisoners are locked up with no compelling public safety reason. It says about 576,000 people in prisons across the country could be released, either because they're in for nonviolent, low-level crimes, or they've served enough of their sentences that letting them out would not be a risk to the public. South Carolina is leading the nation because lawmakers passed a sentencing reform law.
Sentencing reform started in 2010, and since that time we have closed 6 prisons, all low-level prisons. We have kind of looked at a different way of dealing with low-level offenders. In South Carolina, what we're doing now is we're locking people up for a long time that we're afraid of, not that we're mad at.
Despite putting fewer people in prison, South Carolina's crime rate is down, and so is the recidivism rate, which is the number of inmates who end up back in prison within 3 years.
Here's a surprising statistic. The U.S. has less than 5% of the world's population, but almost 25% of its prisoners.
The Brennan study says if the U.S. as a whole did what South Carolina is doing, we would save nearly $20 billion a year. Other states are looking at South Carolina as a model now.
Before sentencing reform, our Youthful Offender Act, and all the things that we're doing while people are incarcerated, we were number 11 in the country of people incarcerated per 100,000. Now we're number 20.
The state has saved almost $500 million because of the changes. In Columbia, Robert Kittle, 7 News.
That study Robert's talking about recommends that states stop sending people to prison for nonviolent, low-level crimes except in rare circumstances.
And it also recommends reducing the minimum and maximum sentences now on the books so they're more proportionate to the crimes. Those are both things that South Carolina has already done.
And